All right, haven't made a video in a while, and I've been watching. I'm so glad to have two of my favorite talkers back: Theoretical BS and Veritas 48, and it's good to hear them talk because they're rational and they think. And I don't know, Scott's getting on this thing with Prop 8, and which was pretty cool. I don't know why anybody argues with that guy, but I had a thought that came into my head, so I wanted to share. And the thought was about theists and how the double standard that comes into not knowing. And a lot of times what the theists will do in arguments is they'll go through an argument, they'll find the God of the gaps types of things, they'll find reasons that you don't understand this, you don't understand that. And a lot of times, if you watch the Atheist Experience, you watch Matt Dillahunty and whatnot, when an atheist says, "Well, we don't know that," they go, "Aha!" Okay, the theist goes, "Aha! See, there's God," and and they say, "Well, how can you not know?" As far as that works out. But it's funny though. If I was a theist, if I was in a church or talking to a priest or talking to someone in a church, and I asked them a question that they didn't know the answer to. One of the things that they tend to say is, "Well, we don't know that," or "God works in mysterious ways," or you'll have to pray on that or think about that, and they're quite okay saying they don't know something. And then they attribute it to God, and so the point is that what we do as the atheists is just don't attribute it to God and just leave it at we don't know that yet. It's okay to say we don't know that, and yes, and even theists say we don't know that, but they just want to attribute it to a God and put an extra step in there. Same thing as as when they go back into the universe and say, well, what came before the universe? By the way, I want to give him credit, and I can't think of it off the top of my head right now, and I will give him credit in the future. But I had a epiphany about the thought about time. And actually, it's not an epiphany. I saw a video, and I thought it was pretty interesting about time, and time being a construct of the universe. So when people say what happened before the universe, just like dimensions are part of the universe, like the universe can't spin, because what would it spin in? Spinning would be something that something in the universe could happen, but outside of the universe cannot if the universe is all there is. There cannot be any movement in the universe. The universe, as I say, the universe is expanding, but how can it expand? It'll only expand into itself. So the expansion is even something that doesn't really make sense. What is it expanding to? Can it or into, something to expand, it must expand into something else, which would portray different dimensions or something that would have to expand into. But the universe can't move. Where would it move to? It's all encompassing. So in that thought process of that being, there can be no time, because so before the Big Bang, if what we believe is as the Big Bang is the universe brought down into a singularity. So there is nothing like, if there's a singularity of the universe, this meaning singularity, there's one thing that contains everything in it, but it's a one singular point. Then there can be nothing out. There's nothing outside of that point. There's nothing that point is in, and there is no time, because and so I guess that means the universe could expand, because all there is itself. Just if it's a singularity, or if it's 13 billion years across, it's only what's in the universe is what exists. What is outside of the universe does not exist. So no matter how big or small the universe is, all there is inside of it existing would be a contingent of there being a universe. So without the universe, there's nothing that exists. There's nothing outside of it. So it's very hard for our minds to accept that concept, but that's the way the universe works. And if everything was in a singularity, where there is nothing else, then there could be no time, because in order for time to happen, the passing of the movement has to happen. There has to be something going into something else. Atoms need to move and rearrange. Even if I sat perfectly still, the universe, the earth is spinning, things are moving, something is going from here to there. If everything is at one singular spot, there is no time. There's no time, because nothing is moving to anything else. So therefore, until there is a separation, until there is a split, until there is space, space and time are synonymous. They are needed. You cannot have space in between things without time to get from one thing to another. And so the same thing with time. You would need space in order for something to go from one moment to the next. So if there is no space, there is no time, and vice versa. So henceforth, when the universe is a singularity, there is nothing. There is no time. So there is no before the universe. Just like, what is the universe expanding into? Nothing. It does nothing outside of that. There only is the universe. And it's a very hard concept to grasp, because you can't visualize that. Like, if you think of something as a tiny point, well, say, well, this little point is in this room. So if I'm going to expand that point, it's like, well, there has to be something for it to expand into. But the universe creates all that space. And what's outside of that? Maybe that question doesn't make sense. There is no outside of that. Okay, what happens to when you make a rounded square? Okay, there is no such thing as a rounded square. It's a circle then. So I thought that was just an interesting concept. I wanted to elaborate a little bit more, and again, I just wanted to get back, put some videos up for you guys. So by the way, any questions? I love questions. I love to. I get more fired up either seeing somebody. I've noticed there's been a lot less religious nonsense on YouTube. I think the atheists are winning as far as that goes. So so I'm glad to have Veritas back. I'm glad the discussions continue on, and these are things that people really need to see. As far as people who are learning about religion, learning about their life, and I think it's a great thing that the discussions happen. So yeah, I love it, and I'll talk to you all soon.